The unexpected visitor. The setting sun painted the sky in vibrant hues of orange and purple as Sarah Chen locked up her repair shop for the night. Wiping the grease from her hands with a rag, she took a moment to admire the view. Millbrook was a small town, barely a dot on the map of rural America, but it had a charm that Sarah had grown to love over the years. As she turned to head home, a brilliant flash of light caught her attention. It streaked across the darkening sky, leaving a trail of sparks in its wake. Sarah's breath caught in her throat as she realized it wasn't a meteor. It was far too large and moving too erratically. "What in the world?" she muttered, shielding her eyes as the object grew closer. The ground shook as the mysterious craft crashed into Farmer Johnson's field, about a mile outside of town. Without hesitation, Sarah jumped into her beat-up pickup truck and sped towards the crash site, her heart racing with a mix of fear and excitement. As she approached, she could see a deep furrow carved into the earth, leading to a sleek, silver object unlike anything she'd ever seen before. It was roughly the size of a bus, but its design was otherworldly, all smooth curves and pulsing lights. Smoke rose from several points along its hull, and Sarah could hear a faint, high-pitched whine emanating from within. Cautiously, she stepped closer, her instincts as a mechanic taking over. "Hello," she called out, not really expecting an answer. "Is anyone in there?" To her shock, a section of the craft's hull shimmered and then became transparent, revealing a cockpit-like interior. Inside, slumped over what appeared to be a control panel, was a figure that was unmistakably not human. Sarah's first instinct was to run, but something held her back. The alien, because what else could it be, looked injured. Its skin was a pale blue, and it had 4 arms, currently hanging limply at its sides. As she watched, it stirred slightly, letting out a low moan of pain. "Hey, are you okay in there?" Sarah found herself asking, surprised at the steadiness of her own voice. The alien's eyes snapped open, all 3 of them, and fixed on Sarah. For a moment, neither moved. Then, slowly, the alien raised one of its hands in what seemed to be a gesture of peace. A voice echoed in Sarah's mind, bypassing her ears entirely. "Help, please." Sarah's decision was made in an instant. Alien or not, someone needed her help, and she wasn't about to turn her back on them. "Hang on," she said, searching for a way to open the craft. "I'm coming in." It took her a few minutes to figure out how to access the interior, but eventually, a door arised open with a soft hiss. The air that wafted out was strange, not unpleasant, but definitely not Earth-like. Sarah took a deep breath and stepped inside. Up close, the alien was even more fascinating. Its body was lithe and graceful, reminding Sarah of a tree swaying in the wind. Despite its obvious injuries, there was an aura of calm intelligence about it. "My name is Sarah," she said, speaking slowly and clearly. "I'm here to help. Can you understand me?" The alien's 3 eyes blinked in unison, and again Sarah heard its voice in her mind. "I am Zax L. Thank you, Sarah of Earth. My ship, damaged, needs repair." Sarah looked around the interior of the craft, taking in the complex array of instruments and unfamiliar technology. It was far beyond anything she'd ever worked on before, but the challenge excited her. "I'm a mechanic," she said. "I fix things. Maybe I can help with your ship." Zaxel's eyes seemed to brighten. "You? Fix? Yes, please. Grateful." As Sarah began to examine the damaged systems more closely, she realized the enormity of what was happening. She, Sarah Chen, small-town mechanic, was about to attempt to repair an alien spacecraft. It was terrifying, exhilarating, and exactly the kind of challenge she'd been yearning for her entire life. "Okay, Zax L," she said, rolling up her sleeves. "Let's see what we can do. But first, we need to get you somewhere safe. My shop isn't far from here. Do you think you can move?" Zax L nodded, a surprisingly human gesture. With Sarah's help, the alien managed to stand, leaning heavily on her as they made their way out of the craft. Sarah looked around, Relieved to see that no one else had arrived at the crash site yet, she knew she had to act fast if she wanted to keep Zaxel's presence a secret, at least for now. As they drove back to her shop in her pickup, Sarah's mind raced with questions. Where had Zaxel come from? Why was he here? And most importantly, how on earth was she going to repair a spaceship with technology she couldn't even begin to comprehend? But as she glanced at her alien passenger, who was now curled up on the seat next to her, looking vulnerable and in need of help, Sarah felt a surge of determination. She might not have all the answers, but she had her skills, her tools, and an unshakable belief that with enough perseverance, any problem could be solved. Little did Sarah know that this chance encounter would not only change her life forever, but also set in motion a series of events that would impact the fate of both humanity and alien civilizations across the galaxy. As she pulled into her shop, the first streaks of dawn appearing on the horizon, Sarah Chen took a deep breath and prepared to embark on the greatest repair job of her life, and possibly the most important in human history: cosmic collaboration. The sun had barely crested the horizon when Sarah Chen rolled up the garage door of her workshop, revealing an interior that was about to become the most unlikely laboratory in human history. Zaxel, still weakened from the crash, hobbled inside with Sarah's assistance, his iridescent blue skin shimmering under the fluorescent lights. "Welcome to Chen's Cosmic Repairs," Sarah quipped, her voice a mix of nervousness and excitement. "First time serving extraterrestrial customers." Zaxel's 3 eyes blinked in rapid succession, a gesture Sarah was beginning to interpret as amusement. "Your humor, refreshing," the alien's thoughts echoed in her mind. "Reminds me of Zagorthian comedy clubs." Sarah chuckled, her tension easing slightly. "Well, I've never been to Zagorthia, but I'm glad my jokes translate across light years." As she helped Zaxel onto a makeshift bed, a repurposed car seat she'd quickly modified, Sarah's mind raced with the enormity of the task ahead. She was about to attempt repairs on technology centuries, maybe millennia, beyond her understanding. It was like asking a medieval blacksmith to fix a smartphone. "Okay, Zaxel," Sarah said, grabbing her toolbox. "Let's start with the basics. What's the main problem with your ship?" Zaxel's eyes swirled with an array of colors, which Sarah interpreted as concentration. "Quantum flux, capacitor malfunction, causes cascading failures in propulsion and life support." Sarah blinked. "Right. Quantum flux capacitor. Of course." She took a deep breath. "Any chance you have a user manual?" To her surprise, Zaxel extended one of his 4 arms, a holographic display springing to life above his palm. Intricate diagrams and alien script floated in the air, rotating slowly. "Whoa," Sarah breathed, her eyes wide. "Now that's what I call a high-tech Haynes manual." As she studied the hologram, something strange began to happen. The alien symbols started to shift, rearranging themselves into recognizable English words. Equations and scientific principles she'd never encountered before suddenly became clear, as if she'd known them all her life. "Zaxel," she said slowly, "are you translating this for me?" The alien nodded. "Not just translating, imparting knowledge. Temporary neural link accelerates learning." Sarah's mind reeled with the implications. She was literally downloading alien engineering knowledge directly into her brain. It was exhilarating and terrifying in equal measure. "Okay," she said, cracking her knuckles. "Let's get to work." Over the next few hours, Sarah found herself in a state of flow unlike anything she'd ever experienced. Her hands moved with a surety that belied the complexity of the task, manipulating tools and components she'd never seen before, as if she'd been working with them all her life. Zaxel watched in fascination as Sarah seamlessly integrated Earth technology with alien components. She repurposed a fuel injector from a '67 Chevy to regulate the quantum flux, used a modified guitar pickup to stabilize a ship's energy field, and even managed to boost the propulsion system using principles she'd learned from tuning high-performance engines. "Your species, resourceful," Zaxel observed, his mental voice tinged with admiration. "Ability to adapt and improvise, remarkable." Sarah grinned, wiping sweat from her brow. "That's humanity for you. We make do with what we've got." As the day wore on, curious townsfolk began to gather outside the shop, drawn by the strange lights and sounds emanating from within. Sarah had covered the windows, but rumors were already spreading like wildfire. Just as she was putting the finishing touches on the repairs, a loud banging came from the front door. "Sarah Chen," a gruff voice called out. "This is Sheriff Harding. Open up." Sarah and Zaxel exchanged alarmed looks. "Quick," she whispered. "Can you make yourself invisible or something?" Zaxel shook his head. "Chameleon circuits, still offline." Sarah took a deep breath, her mind racing. Then an idea struck her. "I've got a plan," she said, grabbing a spare welding mask. "But you'll need to trust me." Moments later, Sarah opened the door to find Sheriff Harding and a small crowd of townspeople outside. "Evening, Sheriff," she said casually. "What can I do for you?" The sheriff's eyes narrowed. "We've had reports of strange goings on here, Sarah. Lights, noises. And wasn't there a meteor crash last night?" Sarah nodded. "You're right, Sheriff. I've got something to show you all." She stepped aside, revealing Zaxel, wearing a full-body mechanic's suit and a welding mask. "Everyone, meet Zax," Sarah announced. "He's my new intern from Sweden." Zaxel raised one of his 4 arms in an awkward wave. "Hej," he said, the words sounding strange in his telepathic voice. "I am enjoying your Earth customs." The crowd murmured, some looking skeptical, others curious. Sheriff Harding frowned. "An intern? Since when do you take interns, Sarah?" Sarah shrugged. "Since I decided to expand the business. Zax here is a whiz with experimental propulsion systems. It wasn't exactly a lie." As if on cue, a loud hum emanated from the back of the shop, followed by a flash of light. The repaired alien ship, now disguised under a tarp to look like a peculiar car, rose a few inches off the ground before settling back down. The crowd gasped in amazement. "What in tarnation was that?" someone called out. Sarah grinned. "Just a little project we're working on. Revolutionary stuff. But I'm afraid it's all very hush-hush. Trade secrets, you understand." The sheriff looked like he wanted to press further, but the excitement from the crowd was palpable. People were already shouting questions about when this new technology would be available and how it worked. All right, Sheriff Harding said, raising his hands. "Show's over, folks. Let's give Sarah and her intern some space to work." As the crowd dispersed, filled with excited chatter about Millbrook becoming the next Silicon Valley, Sarah closed the door and leaned against it, exhaling deeply. "That was close," Zaxel said, removing the welding mask. Sarah nodded, her heart still racing. "Welcome to Earth, where the truth is sometimes stranger than fiction, and a little creativity goes a long way." As they stood there, an unlikely pair of human and alien brought together by chance, Sarah couldn't help but laugh. She had just pulled off the greatest bluff in human-alien relations, armed with nothing but small-town charm and quick thinking. Little did she know, this was only the beginning of their adventure. As Zaxel's ship hummed with renewed energy, ready to take to the stars once more, the true purpose of his mission to Earth was about to be revealed, a purpose that would challenge everything Sarah thought she knew about her place in the universe. The stars twinkled outside, holding secrets of galactic proportions. And in a small repair shop in Millbrook, a most unusual partnership was about to change the course of human history forever. Galactic gearheads unite. As the first rays of dawn painted the sky in hues of lavender and gold, Sarah Chen found herself in a situation that would have been unthinkable just days ago. She was elbow-deep in the innards of an alien spacecraft, surrounded by tools both terrestrial and extraterrestrial, with their new four-armed, blue-skinned friend Zaxel hovering anxiously nearby. "Pass me the quantum spanner, would you?" Sarah called out, her voice muffled as she contorted herself to reach a particularly tricky component. Zaxel's telepathic voice resonated in her mind, tinged with amusement. "You mean, the modified hairdryer?" Sarah grinned, accepting the repurposed beauty appliance now serving as a crucial repair tool. "Hey, don't knock it. Your people might have mastered interstellar travel, but you've never experienced the ingenuity of a human with a tight budget and a deadline." As she worked, Sarah marveled at how quickly she'd adapted to the mind-bending technology before her. Thanks to the neural link Zaxel had established, complex alien engineering principles now felt as familiar as changing oil in a '72 Mustang. It was exhilarating, like being plugged into the collective knowledge of an entire civilization. "You know," Sarah mused, tweaking a series of glowing crystals that seemed to serve as the ship's central processor, "I can't help but wonder. With all this advanced tech, how did you end up crash-landing in a cornfield in the middle of nowhere?" Zaxel's 3 eyes blinked in rapid succession, a gesture Sarah had come to recognize as his equivalent of a sheepish grin. Even advanced civilizations have their moments of cosmic clumsiness. Sarah chuckled, but she couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the story. Before she could press further, a series of rapid beeps and flashing lights erupted from the ship's control panel. "Ah, Zax, what's happening?" Sarah asked, her heart rate quickening. Zaxel's eyes widened, swirling with a kaleidoscope of colors that Sarah interpreted as a mix of excitement and concern. "It's a distress signal from the Galactic Confederation." Sarah's mind reeled. "The what now?" As if in response, a holographic display flickered to life above the control panel. Sarah gasped as she saw what looked like a massive space battle unfolding before her eyes. Sleek, otherworldly ships engaged in a dazzling dance of destruction, energy beams crisscrossing the void of space. "The Voidborn," Zaxel explained, his mental voice grave. "An ancient race, consumed by darkness. They seek to extinguish all life in the galaxy." Sarah watched in awe and horror as the battle raged. "And you're, what? Some kind of space cop?" Zaxel's body rippled with what Sarah assumed was the alien equivalent of a chuckle. "Not quite. I am a cosmic curator. We safeguard the knowledge and culture of all sentient species." As the implications of Zaxel's words sank in, Sarah's mind buzzed with questions. But before she could voice any of them, a new alert sounded from the ship's systems. "Oh no," Zaxel murmured, his mental voice filled with dread. "What is it?" Sarah asked, though part of her already knew the answer. "The Voidborn, they detected my ship. They're coming to Earth." Sarah's blood ran cold. In the span of a few days, she'd gone from small-town mechanic to Earth's first line of defense against an alien invasion. It was like something out of a B-movie, except the danger was all too real. "How long do we have?" she asked, her voice surprisingly steady. 3 Earth days, at most," Zaxel replied. Sarah took a deep breath, her mind already racing with possibilities. "Okay, so we need to get your ship space-worthy ASAP. But we can't do this alone. We need help." Zaxel's eyes swirled with confusion. "But your people, they're not ready for this knowledge." Sarah grinned, a plan already forming in her mind. "Maybe not all of them, but I know just the group we need. Ever heard of cosplayers?" Hours later, Sarah's workshop had been transformed into a hive of activity. A dozen people in elaborate sci-fi costumes bustled about, each one working on a different part of Zaxel's ship. To an outsider, it might have looked like the world's most elaborate convention after-party. In reality, it was humanity's best hope for survival. "Kaylee, how's that warp core calibration coming?" Sarah called out to a young woman dressed as an engineer from a popular space opera. "Almost there, Cap'n," Kaylee replied with a grin, giving a thumbs up. "These dilithium crystals are trickier than they look in the show." Nearby, a man in a silver bodysuit that would have looked right at home in a 50s UFO flick was tinkering with what appeared to be the ship's navigation system. "Hey, Sarah," he called out. "I think I've got the star charts figured out. But, there's a lot more habitable planets out there than we thought." Sarah nodded, feeling a swell of pride. Her ragtag team of sci-fi enthusiasts had taken to alien technology like ducks to water. It turned out that years of immersing themselves in fictional universes had prepared them surprisingly well for the real thing. Zaxel, still disguised in his mechanic's outfit and welding mask, moved among the group, offering guidance and answering questions. To their credit, the cosplayers had accepted his presence with remarkable ease. After all, what was one more alien at a sci-fi gathering? As the day wore on, the ship began to take shape. What had once been a battered wreck was now starting to look like the pinnacle of cosmic engineering. Sarah marveled at how seamlessly human ingenuity and alien technology had merged. Just as they were putting the finishing touches on the hull, a commotion outside caught everyone's attention. Sarah rushed to the window, her heart sinking as she saw a fleet of black SUVs pulling up. "Oh," she muttered. "Looks like the men in black have finally caught up with us." As government agents in dark suits began to surround the workshop, Sarah exchanged a look with Zaxel. They both knew that the next few moments would determine not just their fate, but potentially the fate of the entire planet. Sarah took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. She might be a small-town mechanic thrust into a galactic conflict, but she was also humanity's best hope. With a nod to her team of cosplaying cosmic engineers, she stepped forward to face the music. Little did the approaching agents know, they were about to encounter a force more powerful than any government agency, the combined creativity, passion, and determination of humanity's biggest dreamers. As Sarah reached for the door handle, she couldn't help but smile. The real space opera was just beginning, and she had a feeling the universe wasn't ready for what Earth had to offer. The fate of galaxies hung in the balance, and at the center of it all stood an unlikely heroine, Sarah Chen, the mechanic who would reshape the stars. Cosmic diplomacy and duct tape. The tension in the air was thick enough to cut with a laser cutter as Sarah Chen stepped out of her workshop to face a sea of black suits and sunglasses. Behind her, a motley crew of cosplayers turned alien engineers held their breath, while Zaxel, still in his welding mask disguise, peered nervously through the window. "Good afternoon, gentlemen," Sarah said, channeling every ounce of small-town charm she could muster. "What brings the men in black to a humble sci-fi convention?" A tall, stern-looking man stepped forward, his badge glinting in the sunlight. "Agent Smith, National Security Agency. We have reports of unusual activity in this area. Care to explain why our satellites picked up extraterrestrial energy signatures coming from your garage?" Sarah's mind raced. She needed a plan, fast. Then inspiration struck like a bolt of cosmic lightning. "Well, Agent Smith," she said, her voice steady, "you've stumbled upon something big. But it's not what you think. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to Project Starforge." With a flourish, Sarah gestured to her workshop. On cue, her team of cosplayers burst into action. They threw open the doors, revealing Zaxel's ship in all its glory. But now, thanks to some quick thinking and quicker spray painting, it bore the hastily added logo of NASA, New Aeronautics and Space Alliance. "What you're looking at," Sarah continued, her confidence growing with each word, "is the future of space exploration. A joint venture between NASA, private industry, and international partners." The agents murmured among themselves, clearly caught off guard. Agent Smith's eyebrow raised skeptically. "And you're building this, here?" Sarah nodded enthusiastically. "We're better to hide a top-secret project than in plain sight. We've been disguising our work as a sci-fi convention. After all, who'd believe a bunch of cosplayers were actually building a revolutionary spacecraft?" As if on cue, one of the cosplayers, a young woman dressed as a Vulcan scientist, stepped forward. "If I may, Agent Smith," she said, her voice calm and logical. "What you're witnessing is the culmination of years of research into quantum propulsion and anti-gravity technology. Our team of experts has been assembled from various fields, each bringing unique insights to the project." Sarah had to stifle a grin. Tasha, the Vulcan, was actually a quantum physics PhD student who'd been ecstatic to apply her theoretical knowledge to actual alien tech. Agent Smith frowned, clearly struggling to process this information. "But why haven't we been informed about this project?" "Plausible deniability," Sarah replied smoothly. "In case of leaks. But now that you're here, we could use your help. We're on the verge of a breakthrough that could revolutionize space travel and, well, save the world." As Sarah spoke, she felt a gentle nudge in her mind. Zaxel's telepathic voice whispered, "Sarah, incoming transmission from the Voidborn." Sarah's heart skipped a beat, but she maintained her composure. "In fact, Agent Smith, we're about to receive a very important transmission. Would you and your team like to witness history in the making?" Before the agent could respond, the air above the spacecraft shimmered, and a massive holographic image appeared. The visage that materialized was enough to make even the stoic government agents gasp. The Voidborn commander was a sight to behold, a writhing mass of darkness with glowing red eyes, its form constantly shifting and roiling like a storm cloud of pure malevolence. "Humans," the creature's voice boomed, sending shivers down everyone's spine. "Your planet harbors a fugitive of the cosmic conclave. Surrender the curator and his vessel, or face annihilation." For a moment, silence reigned. Then, to everyone's surprise, Agent Smith stepped forward, his face set in grim determination. "This is Agent Smith of Earth's Defense Forces," he announced, his voice unwavering. "We do not respond to threats. If you have a diplomatic request, we're willing to listen. Otherwise, I suggest you turn your ships around." Sarah stared at the agent in awe. It seemed humanity's capacity to adapt extended even to hardened government officials. The Voidborn commander's eyes flared with rage. "You dare defy us? Your primitive weapons are no match for our power." As if to demonstrate, a beam of energy lanced down from the sky, carving a smoldering furrow in the earth mere feet from where they stood. In that moment, Sarah knew it was time to drop all pretenses. "Okay, everyone," she shouted, "into the ship, now." To their credit, the agents moved quickly, ushering civilians into the workshop while taking defensive positions. Agent Smith turned to Sarah, his expression a mix of confusion and grudging respect. "I hope you know what you're doing, Miss Chen." Sarah managed a wry smile. "Honestly, I'm making this up as I go along, but right now, that ship is our best hope." As they rushed inside, Sarah was greeted by a flurry of activity. Her team of cosplayers had seamlessly transitioned from pretend spacefarers to actual ones, each taking up stations around the ship's interior with a surety that belied their lack of actual space experience. Zaxel, now free of his disguise, was at the main control panel. "Sarah," he communicated telepathically, "the ship is ready, but we need a power source strong enough to break through the Voidborn's energy barrier." Sarah's mind raced, then her eyes fell on a forgotten corner of her workshop. "I have an idea," she said, dashing over to an old, dust-covered machine. "Zax, meet Earth's secret weapon, the Ford F-150 engine block." As the sounds of destruction echoed outside, Sarah and her unlikely crew worked feverishly to integrate the truck engine into the alien ship's power systems. It was a crazy plan, the kind that could only be born from the marriage of human ingenuity and desperate times. Quantum flux capacitor, check. Dilithium crystals, check. Good old American horsepower, check. Sarah called out, her hands flying over the controls. "Everyone hold onto your butts. We're about to make the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs." With a roar that was part alien technology and part Detroit muscle, the ship lurched to life. The workshop walls crumbled around them as they rose into the air, facing the looming threat of the Voidborn fleet. As they breached the atmosphere, Sarah couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of it all. Here she was, a small-town mechanic, piloting a hybridized alien hot rod into the biggest space battle in Earth's history, with a crew of cosplayers, government agents, and one very surprised alien curator. The stars beckoned, and humanity's first wildly unconventional steps into the galactic community were about to begin. Sarah gripped the controls tighter, a determined grin spreading across her face. The universe had no idea what was coming. "All right, Voidborn," she muttered. "Let's see how you handle a little Earth-style road rage." With that, Sarah Chen, unlikely hero and intergalactic grease monkey, punched the throttle, sending their improbable craft hurtling into the heart of the battle that would decide the fate of not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. The multiverse mechanics gambit. The vastness of space stretched before them, a canvas of infinite darkness punctuated by the fiery explosions of the ongoing battle. Sarah Chen, small-town mechanic turned cosmic heroine, gripped the controls of their hybrid alien-human spacecraft, her knuckles white with determination. "All right, team," Sarah called out, her voice steady despite the chaos surrounding them. "Welcome to Operation Cosmic Wrench. Our mission: save Earth, stop the Voidborn, and try not to break the universe in the process. Any questions?" Tasha, the quantum physicist in Vulcan cosplay, raised her hand. "Just one. How exactly are we supposed to defeat an armada of advanced alien warships with a spaceship that's half UFO, half pickup truck?" Sarah grinned, a glint of mischief in her eyes. "The same way we fix anything back home, with duct tape, PD-40, and a whole lot of crazy." As if to punctuate her words, the ship shuddered violently, rocked by a near miss from a void-borne energy blast. "Shields at 60% and holding," reported Kevin, a software engineer dressed as a Klingon warrior, his fake forehead ridges furrowing as he studied the readouts. "That forward engine block is putting out more power than we thought." Zaxel's telepathic voice rang out in Sarah's mind, tinged with both admiration and concern. "Sarah, the Voidborn are charging their main weapon. If it fires, Earth will be—" "Not gonna happen," Sarah interrupted, her jaw set with determination. She turned to Agent Smith, who was looking uncharacteristically disheveled. "Agent, now might be a good time for you to call in any favors you've got with the global defense networks." Smith nodded, already pulling out a secure satellite phone. "On it. But what's your plan?" Sarah's eyes twinkled with an idea so audacious it just might work. "We're going to give the Voidborn a taste of their own medicine. Tasha, remember that quantum entanglement theory you were telling me about?" Tasha's eyes widened in realization. "You can't be serious. That's purely theoretical. We need to generate an enormous amount of energy and we just happen to have an alien power source combined with good old-fashioned American muscle," Sarah finished. "Zax, can you reconfigure the warp drive to create a quantum field around the Voidborn ships?" Zaxel's eyes swirled with a mix of excitement and trepidation. "It's possible, but highly dangerous. We could trigger a cascade reaction across multiple dimensions." Sarah's grin widened. "Perfect. That's exactly what we need." As the team worked feverishly to implement Sarah's wild plan, the Voidborn fleet closed in. The main view screen crackled to life, revealing the writhing, shadowy form of the Voidborn commander. "Foolish humans," it snarled, its voice dripping with contempt. "Your primitive contraption is no match for our power. Surrender now, and we may spare your insignificant planet." Sarah stepped forward, facing the alien tyrant with a smirk. "Sorry, pal, but where I come from, we don't take kindly to bullies, especially not the intergalactic kind. So how about you turn that fancy fleet around before I have to show you why you don't mess with Earth's best mechanic?" The Voidborn commander's eyes flared with rage. "You dare?" "Oh, I dare," Sarah interrupted. "In fact, I'll do you one better. I'll give you a front row seat to the greatest show in the multiverse." She turned to her crew. "Hit it." With a nod from Sarah, Tasha activated the quantum field generator. The space around the void-borne ships began to shimmer and distort, reality itself seeming to bend and warp. What is this trickery? The void-borne commander roared, genuine fear creeping into its voice for the first time. Sarah's voice was calm, almost nonchalant. Oh, nothing much. Just a little trick I like to call multiversal parallel parking. You see, your ships are about to take a little trip, simultaneously existing in every possible reality at once. And let me tell you, the insurance premiums for that kind of driving are killer. As she spoke, the void-borne ships began to flicker and phase, their forms becoming translucent as they were caught in the quantum field. The commander's image on the view screen distorted, its words becoming a garbled mess of overlapping realities. Sarah, Zaxel warned, the field is destabilizing. If we don't shut it down soon, it could tear a hole in the fabric of space-time. Sarah nodded, her expression serious. Just a few more seconds. We need to make sure they're fully phased out. The ship groaned and shuddered, the combined alien and human technology straining under the immense forces at work. Warning lights flashed across every console, and for a moment, it seemed as if they had pushed things too far. Then, with a final, reality-bending flash, the void-borne fleet vanished, scattered across countless dimensions, rendered harmless by their very omnipresence. A stunned silence fell over the bridge, broken only by the sound of Kevin's Klingon forehead prosthetic, finally giving up and falling to the floor with a soft thud. Did we just save the Earth by exploiting a loophole in quantum mechanics? Tasha asked, her voice filled with awe. Sarah leaned back in her captain's chair, a satisfied smile spreading across her face. Never underestimate the power of a good mechanic with an interdimensional wrench set. As the realization of their victory sank in, cheers erupted throughout the ship. Agent Smith was already on his phone, presumably trying to explain to his superiors how a ragtag group of sci-fi enthusiasts and one alien had just averted global annihilation. Zaxel approached Sarah, his three eyes shimmering with what she now recognized as deep emotion. Sarah Chen, he said, his telepathic voice filled with reverence, you have done more than save your world. You have changed the course of galactic history. The cosmic conclave will sing songs of this day for eons to come. Sarah chuckled, running a hand through her oil-stained hair. Well, as long as those songs have a good beat and you can dance to them, I'm all for it. But right now, I think we could all use a coffee. Saving the multiverse is thirsty work. As they began their descent back to Earth, Sarah couldn't help but feel a twinge of excitement. She had glimpsed a universe far larger and more wondrous than she had ever imagined, and she knew her journey was only beginning. The stars twinkled invitingly as their ship, this improbable fusion of alien technology and human ingenuity, carried them home. Sarah Chen, the mechanic who had fixed the fabric of reality itself, smiled. The universe was vast and full of mysteries, but with a good set of tools, a little creativity, and friends by your side, anything was possible. As they broke through Earth's atmosphere, Sarah made a mental note to update her shop's sign. Chen's Cosmic Repairs had a nice ring to it, and something told her business was about to pick up in a big intergalactic way. The adventure was far from over. In fact, for Sarah Chen and her unlikely crew of cosmic heroes, it was just getting started. The multiverse had better watch out. Earth's best mechanic was now on call, and no problem was too big, too small, or too multidimensional for her to tackle.